center. So that the film is my 4 years at Morehouse jam packed into a homecoming weekend.
Which for some people, that whole HBCU experience is a homecoming weekend stretched out over 4 years.
And I've gotten many compliments, awards, but nothing tops when people come up to me, total strangers, and say, "I went to college because of this film."
Wow.
I went to a black college because of this film.
Wow.
And it's been more than once. And they say, and they always say thank you because it changed my life going to college.
Well, count me among them. It was, again, the first time. Just, I grew up in a very small world, man, where I was like, oh shit, you can do that. But then also too, speaking about the moment we're living in right now, this diversity of thought. Because in that film, it's all about, like your mom said, black people are not a monolith. There's different ways of approaching the issues that we're all facing, which was what I took from the film. And also, damn, there's some cool ass black people in the world. And they all hanging out at Morehouse College, apparently. Although in the film you renamed it. What's the name of the school in the film?
Mission College.
Mission College.
Yeah, everybody knew it was Morehouse.
Yeah. All right. Real quick.
We had the same colors, maroon and white.
Yeah. I don't know how you got the financing for the film. I wanted to talk about the financing of Malcolm X and how it relates to the current moment that we're in right now. But with School Days, the musical, the Good or Bad Hair sequence, was there a point in production? Because that shit seemed, for the budget of the film, that's a big set piece. Was there one where you're like, maybe we will, maybe we won't, maybe we should, maybe we should?
My father wrote that song.
Gotcha.
I mean, we're still talking about good and bad hair now. It's 2020,
Exactly. I think Rock made a whole film on it, right?
Who?
Well, Chris Rock. Chris Rock made a whole film on it.
Well, that was a documentary.
That's a documentary, exactly. Hey, a documentary's a film. You should know, bro. Made some of the best. They said 5:45. We got to wrap up. I don't know if somebody's gonna kick us off, but I wanted to say I see the hat you're wearing.
No. We got another 15 minutes.
All right, I want to talk about the hat you're wearing, 1619. Before we get off, Nicole Hannah Jones did a amazing job at the Times building that sequence.
The New York Times, they did. It's simple. Our ancestors were stolen from Mother Africa. The first slave ship landed at Jamestown, Virginia. We've been here 401 years. Still catching hell.
Which leads me to a question I wanted to ask. Where is it that Spike Lee wants to go, man? Because I gotta say, I'm speaking to you in name, because to me you're kind of larger than life, man. I don't think
where want to go.
Yeah,
we're going to go home in a minute.
You know what I'm talking about, man. I mean, I don't think I would be making films if you weren't making films. Now, I'll be honest, it was difficult. It was difficult going to film school with you out there because all the professors were like, "Oh, you could be the next Spike Lee." I was like, "Shit, I can't be Spike Lee. Only Spike Lee could be Spike Lee."
Any teacher tells their student they should be any other filmmaker, they're doing a disservice to that student. That's
exactly.
That's just ignorant.
Which there were other professors who explained that to me, and I realized very quickly I couldn't be you, and that the best way to honor you would be to not be you. But you
brother, you're doing a damn thing, and I'm proud of you too, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. That means that's
a fact. You're doing your thing, man.
That means the world to me. So let me ask, man, where else is it for Spike Lee to go, man? I mean,
I'm gonna answer your question.
Yes, sir.
I've never done a musical before.
Other than Good or Bad Hair, yeah, that's true. I've
had musical sequences in my film.
Exactly.
But I've not done a straight out dance and singing musical. So
I think we should rectify that, bro. There's a lot of fancy people listening. Netflix listening. Netflix got all the money in the world. Hey, Netflix.
Netflix was the last place I can go.
Oh shit! That leads to the question I want to ask.
The whole town said, "Spike, no, thank you."
That's all good.
Then the slick ones They don't tell you no, but they give you a budget, which you know you can't shoot it for.
Exactly.
The okie doke.
Exactly.
Skullduggery.
But where there's a will,
Subterfuge.
where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, if you can make
Oh,
shit
yeah.
happen, you can make anything.
You only need one. This is just what I tell my students. You know, the nature of this business, doors will be slammed in your face, but you only need one.
Exactly. I mean,
Only need one.
we would try to make Moonlight. I don't talk about this a lot, but we A24.
Tell the story again. Tell the story again.
They would only greenlight the budget at $750,000, and even then, I was like, okay, shit, I'll make it for $750,000, but they just wouldn't actually give us the money, and so that slipped by the wayside. Then we found another company, again, $750,000. They just wouldn't actually give us the money, and then Plan B swooped in with A24, and they were like, actually, we don't think you can make it for $750,000. We'll give you like 1.2. I was like, all right, well, shit, give me 1. I made a movie for $15,000. Give me 1.2. I'm gonna go do it. And it's crazy how you can convince yourself, oh, this movie isn't makeable. If they wanted to give me $750 for it, then clearly it's just a shit film. It ain't worth making. But we just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. My manager, this dude named Jewel Ross, he just kept pushing and pushing, and then eventually Plan B stepped up and got it done. But enough of that.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. But hey, I wanted to ask you about.
I was one happy Negro. You were.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.
Happy Negroes.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, I read the article where you were talking about the de-aging and the Five Bloods, and then of course I don't know. I didn't read the interview, but I'm sure the Irishman came up and all that shit. But I actually found I preferred it the way you did it, man. I preferred it the way you did it. And so as a student, like I want to put you on the spot and ask you, was it a choice of necessity, or at a certain point where you just like, you know what? I think I might just want to roll with this because, I read a quote you gave about this idea of memory and dreams and how you see yourself in context. And I gotta be honest, bro, having seen both films, I think this way was much more appropriate for this film, and I think it really worked.
Well, number one, Martin Scorsese can't do nothing bad to me.
Exactly.
That's my guy. And anybody says anything else, I'm gonna be throwing some hands.
Exactly. That's why I say.
No. Let me finish.
Yeah.
As I said before, my brother, Netflix was the last place was gonna make the film, but they're gonna do it for a price.
Mm-hmm.
To go through that thing was going to add another $100 million to the budget. Also, it's been my experience that I can't remember a film where they cast younger versions of the star actors that work. I mean, you might be doing it one, but they get 4.
Exactly.
I didn't want to do that. And then you talked about already. These guys, like many of the African American soldier bloods, back then it was easy to forge your birth certificate. So people brothers going like 16, 17, 18 years old. So this is how they remembered when they were boys. Young boys were sent around the world, halfway around the world, to fight in the Boer War. At the height of the Vietnam War, the African American population of the United States of America was only 10%. Yet at the height, we were almost a third of the fighting forces.
Yeah. Which people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know. I think you and the Hughes brothers are the only films I've seen, the fiction films, that tell that story to a certain degree. And I think because of that, again, I think that a lot of your films are in this conversation about who is America. What is America? Who is America? What is patriotism? It's kind of interesting the way these cats talk about, because you you kind of step in it a bit with them going back because they're black men. I see them. You know what I mean? They're the Bloods, but then to everyone else, they're GI.
Black GI, Black
Exactly.
GI.
And so it's this the double consciousness like WB Du Bois
Boys,
talk about exactly.
and here's the thing though, and I'm very happy when I see people marching all across the world
Mm-hmm.
who aren't black, chanting, yelling, Black Lives Matter. And it really makes my heart full to see the young white generation out there doing that. But we have to be taught because we, black and white, we've just been taught lies and lies and lies. I remember, like it's yesterday, our teachers telling us about, I forgot the grade, about George Washington, the first president of the United States of America, and he chopped down a cherry tree. And I forgot who was a mother or father. Somebody asked that motherfucker who chopped down the cherry tree, and George Washington said it was me. We were not taught that George Washington, the first president of the United States of America, owned 123 slaves.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out today Ulysses S. Grant owned slaves.
Mm.
I just found out that today because they just tore down a statue in Oakland, San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was like, why they tearing his? He was he was with the Union. I said, nah, he had slaves too. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know that. And also, but here's the key thing. The foundation of the United States of America is to steal the land from the native people